going to start by reminding everybody to be diligent about getting our mics on when we talk. Moved by Kathy Regier, seconded by Terry Miller. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region convene into a public meeting to review 2 zoning bylaw amendment applications. All those in favor? Okay. Yeah. Okay, carried. No objections, say. All carried. Okay, good. Okay. Our number 1 is zoning bylaw amendment plan 65, part block D, 78, Pembroke Street, Cobden. We'll open it up to Christine to...
Thank you. The purpose of the amendment is to rezone an existing vacant 3-acre lot to allow highway tourist commercial uses and retail store and microbrewery as additional permitted uses. The zoning will go from general industrial GM and highway tourist commercial HTC to highway tourist commercial - exception 6 holding HTC E6H. In addition, the condition has been added for removal of the holding symbol. Recommendations of a traffic impact study and a clearance letter will be required from the Ministry of Transportation for the final site plan, final lot grading and drainage plan, and traffic impact study. If a person or public body does not make an oral submission at this public meeting or make a written submission before the bylaw is passed, they are not entitled to appeal the township's decision to the Ontario Municipal Board, nor may they be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the OMB unless the board agrees there are reasonable grounds to do so.
We'll open it up to the public. Anybody wants to speak to it or against it at this point? Pardon me?
Anyone has to come up to the mic.
Yeah, if you're going to speak, you do have to come to the mic.
Hi, my name is Don Deere. I'm just wondering where it's actually located because I'm not familiar with that road.
It's on top of the hill on Pembroke Street, leaving the municipality or the village of Cobden.
Going towards Pembroke?
Going towards Pembroke.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak to or against?
Once we get the second one dealt with, then we'll go right to the 2 bylaws. We don't have to wait till way down there.
Okay, perfect. Any questions from council? All right. We will go to number 2, zoning bylaw amendment plan 65 lots 320 to 325 and part lot 326, 33 to 37 John Street, Cobden. Christine?
Thank you. The purpose of the amendment is to rezone an existing vacant... Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, I'm on the part 2 of the wrong one. This zoning bylaw amendment, number 2, pertains to the subject lands Plan 65 lots 320 to 325 and part lot 326 which is 33 to 37 John Street, Cobden. The purpose of this amendment is to implement site-specific zoning to allow a portion of the property to be divided by the lifting of lot control into 6 freehold lots to accommodate 3 existing townhouse units and 3 proposed townhouse units. If a person or public body does not make an oral submission at this public meeting or make a written submission before the bylaw is passed, they are not entitled to appeal the township's decision to the Ontario Municipal Board, nor may they be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the OMB unless the board agrees there are reasonable grounds to do so.
Open up to the public, if anybody wishes to speak to or against, come forward. Any questions from council? Councillor McLaughlin.
I'm just wondering, and I'd like to direct it to Doug. This has come before us before. Is there what's the reason this time, Doug?
The reason is that they want to be able to keep building, and the interiors, there are lots there that were of an old lot plan, and the interior side lots, which are the middle lines, were still there. So by doing this, they're going to remove them after the side lot lines, that they can just keep on building the three, because they want to build three structures at the end, three apartments, the triplexes. Now, the first time they come here was for a rezoning of lot frontage, the depth. Okay?
Okay. No other questions, I guess, Doug? Any other questions of council? No. Moved by Terry Miller, seconded by Kathy Regier. Be it resolved that the public meeting of the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region held on May 20th, 2015 be adjourned at 6:12 p.m. Oh, yes, we go there. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Call meeting to order. Call a meeting to order at 6:13. I think tonight, because of all the things that have happened in the world, all of the deaths and all of the tragedies, and so many things that have happened in our area, I would like to, for this evening, have 1 minute of reflective silence. Thank you very much. I ask if anyone has to disclose a pecuniary interest for this evening's agenda. None. Okay. Moved by Kathy Regier, seconded by Terry Miller. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region adopts the agenda for the May 20th, 2015 council meeting, plus one additional item, which is number 12-13A.
It's a grant funding application.
Yeah, grant funding. Sunshine Coach. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Thanks. Now, ahead to, number 4A, just, so the people that, are interested can leave if they wish. Be it resolved that, moved by Terry Miller, seconded by Kathy Regier. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approves that the following bylaws be introduced, read, dealt with, numbered, signed by the mayor and clerk, and sealed and recorded in the bylaw book. Number 1, 15-05-789, rezoning 78 Pembroke Street, Cobden. Number 2, 15-05-790, rezoning 33 to 37 John Street, Cobden. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. And yes, we gotta go back. Oh, yeah, that's right too, sorry. Moved by Kathy Regier, seconded by Terry Miller. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region adopts the minutes of the April 15th, 2015 council meeting. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Moved by Kathy Regier, seconded by Terry Miller. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve the attached schedule of general purpose accounts in the amount of $334,390.95 and water fund accounts in the amount of $5,852.65 for the period of April 1st to the April 30th, 2015, and that the above accounts be paid. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Moved by Kathy Regier, seconded by Terry Miller. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region receive and file departmental reports from Treasurer, Public Works Manager, CBO, Environmental Services Manager, Fire Chief, CAO, and Reeve. And we will start with the report from Treasurer. If there's anything to add?
No, there's not.
Okay, any questions? Councillor Olmsted.
Just on the OPP for 2015, so are we expecting a reconciliation halfway through again this year, similar to other years?
Well, we're not sure at this time. We're just going to wait and see, but this is for the 2014 year. But with the new model in place, I don't believe, we won't know yet.
Okay, because I understand last year we received a credit for periods 1 to 6. It was like 40-some thousand, and then another credit after that.
That's
okay.
right, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Marcia? No. Okay. Bill is not present.
No, Bill had a family emergency.
Okay. Any questions that Chairman Dave McKay could answer for us? Oh, see. Okay. We'll move on to CBO. Any questions for Doug? Oh, yes, right. Okay. No questions? All right. Sorry. Councillor Regier.
Just a question, Doug, on the Foresters Falls Library. So they ran into a few things where they had to come up to another $2,400.
We've actually run into a few things. One was mold. We ran into mold when they tore the bathroom apart in there, so we had to correct that. That was around $400, I think. There was a extra 5 inches of concrete in the floor. So when they had to move their plumbing around, they had to go through 12 inches of concrete. So that was an extra expense. Also, when we put the walls up, the block walls that were required by the drawings, it come in that the floor, the interior floor was actually, when they added that extra concrete in there, was about 4 inches lower than what the blocks were, so we had to build up the sills to get it to the right level. What else? There was an interior wall that was supposed to be removed on the drawings, but when we went to tear it apart, it was a load-bearing wall, so we couldn't remove it. We had to reframe it to be structurally sound. So there has been some stuff like that that has come up.
And can you see, like, is this pretty much come to the end of it? Like, can you
Well,
foresee anything else that might...
There was, the library board, though, has decided to go with a different air conditioned heating unit, but they're going to pay for that.
Okay.
So that's not ours. There was a little issue today where the floor on the existing library is about 6 inches or 8 inches in one area where we're going to meet, and at the next wall it goes down to 3, the concrete. So you have a level building that's been built, and now we got to try to fix that up that it's going to look right. So I don't know how we're going to fix that just yet.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, we have been running into a few little issues.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Doug.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry. Councillor McLaughlin.
I see here you say you're done with the parking signs? Is that right?
The parking signs, yes, we've installed the parking signs over at the school. There is a couple missing yet, Darryl. There's one, I think a loading sign where the time frames is missing, and there's 1 or 2 that we have to remove yet.
Are the ones that you removed, they're not going back, the ones on the corner, the ones that started the whole issue?
The one on the corner, we've, the one right at the sharp corner.
Yes,
We're
where we
gonna
first go to turn in?
We have a sign there gonna go there that no parking within 6 meters be either way.
Okay, well, that answers my question, because it said the signs were complete, so there is some more signage to go up.
There is about 3 signs. When we got our order, we didn't get all the signs that were supposed to go there.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Olmsted.
Just with respect to building permits and any permits, do we track permits versus prior year?
Yes, we can do that. I can provide you with a report next month that shows that we got in 2014 and what our income was and what we have now.
That'd be great, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Doug. Now, our environmental services manager is taking a little longer vacation than he ever took before, well deserved. And our fire chief is unable to be here, but our CAO is here and our REIT is here. So we'll start with our CAO.
I very briefly just wanted to touch on the sheet here, the 2015 Ontario budget highlights that came out from AMO in April. And there's the important highlight that the provincial government has decided that at the moment there will be no change to scale back the Power Dam Special Payment Program, which is an annual payment to us of $49,146. So I think there was enough feedback from enough municipalities in Ontario that they've decided it would be wise to just let this sit for now, and they're continuing to review it. An announcement on these changes is expected prior to 2016.
Excellent. That's good news. Any questions? Further questions? and we will go on to Reeve Miller. Any questions for Reeve Miller? Councillor McLaughlin.
I see the prayer is still an issue at county council?
Yes, they're seeking legal advice, and we'll have to just wait and see where that goes. They went all through this, I think it was 12 or 14 years ago, to revise the prayer, and they think they're on legal grounds.
Okay.
So that's the lawyers.
That's nowhere, I was just wondering why we didn't recite the prayer tonight.
You'd have to ask your mayor that.
That's right. I thought maybe there was a reason it was coming down from county council.
Absolutely not.
We had passed a motion at council a few weeks ago that there would be a revolving prayer, revolving through the Lord's Prayer, the non-denominational prayer, and the moment of silence. That's on the books.
And I understand why you asked that, because of what's going on at the county, Councillor McLaughlin.
You know, my mind just didn't twig that the moment of silence counted.
Absolutely. No more questions? All those in favor of accepting the reports? Opposed, if any? Carried. Moved by Kathy Rigger, seconded by Terry Miller. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region adopts the minutes of the Council in committee meetings of April 22nd, May 6th, and May 13th, 2015. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Moved by Dave McKay, seconded by Terry Miller. Be it resolved that the Environmental Services Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region recommends that Council accept and acknowledge the drinking water system annual reports for Cobden, Beachburg, and Haley town site, and the Cobden Water Pollution Control Plan annual report as prepared and submitted by the Ontario Clean Water Agency. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carried. Moved by Terry Miller, seconded by Dave McKay. Be it resolved that the Environmental Services Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region recommends that the Council endorse and approve the Ontario Clean Water Agency's operational plan as prepared and submitted by Aqua. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Start reaching for my own. Moved by Terry Miller, seconded by Dave McKay. Be it resolved that the Environmental Services Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region recommends that Council provide the requested letter of support for the proposed water brewing company, the proposed Whitewater Brewing Company project at the BEI-owned Century Milling property on Highway 17, as well as water sewer plant capacity confirmation for the proposed project. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Moved by Dave McKay, seconded by Terry Miller. Be it resolved that the Environmental Services Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region recommends that Council include budget for a full-time seasonal landfill operator in the waste site operating budget to allow the manager to spend a full week work in the office and be in the field only as needed from Monday to Friday. Any discussion? Councillor McLaughlin.
I'm just wondering if it would be all right with the mover and the seconder if we table this to, till our, manager's back, because I think he has some input towards this. So, I would ask that, if it was all right, I would like to make a motion or have it tabled till our manager comes back.
Councillor Miller? Reeve Miller?
Yeah, did we not already do that, and is he not already aware of all this?
I think we discussed it, but he has another, as chair of Environmental Services, I think he came out with a different proposal, and that's where I'm...
You're saying that this is different from what we agreed to that night with Steve here?
Yes, it is.
Councillor Jackson.
It reflects what we agreed to, but I believe what Councillor McLaughlin is saying is that after the meeting, Steve Hodson thought in his mind that he might have a different solution, even though I believe that same solution was brought forward as a part-time staff or a full-time staff, and we decided on a full-time seasonal staff. But I'm in agreement, if the mover and seconder are in agreement, that he'll be back for next week's meeting, the budget meeting, and perhaps he can make those discussions at that time.
Okay, it's good. Sorry.
Do you agree?
I would just like to say thank you to Councillor Jackson for her support.
Moved by Charlene Jackson, seconded by Darrell McLaughlin, be it resolved that the Economic Development Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region recommends that council authorize an application prepared by the township's lawyer to the registry office for the conversion of absolute title of blocks 11 and 12, Plan 573, Bonashare Excavating. Any questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? Carried. Moved by Charlene Jackson, seconded by Councillor Chris Olmsted. Be it resolved that the Recreation and Culture Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region recommends that council update the Cobden and District Recreation Operating Authority bylaw from 1986, including appointing a member of council to the association as recommended by the township's auditor. Further, the committee recommends that the CAO be directed to draft an updated Cobden Arena lease agreement to be signed by both parties. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Any? Carried. Moved by Charlene Jackson, seconded by Darrell McLaughlin, be it resolved that the Recreation and Culture Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region recommends that council direct staff to purchase 2 new 4x8 double-sided promotional event banners at the approximate cost of $700. Any questions? Councillor McLaughlin.
Is that each or is that in total?
Total.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Moved by Reeve Miller, seconded by Councillor Chris Olmsted, be it resolved that the Corporation Services Committee of Whitewater Region accepts the draft audit financial statements presented by McGillican and Associates at the May 6th committee meeting. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. I think it's both going to take breath. That's number 10 anyway.
Yep.
We go to number 10, bylaws. Number 1, 15-05-786, Smith, B146-13. 1, development agreement. Any questions? Number 2, 15-05-787, Smith, B147-132, development agreement. Any questions? Number 3, 15-05-788, Smith, B148-13-3, development agreement. Any questions? Number 4, 15-05-792, QP collective agreement, 2015 to 2018. Any questions? (15-05-793) 2269-805 Ontario Limited Development Agreement. Any questions? Number 6, 15-05-794 procedural update. Questions? Number 7, 15-05-795 Cogeco billboard agreement. Any questions? Number 8, 15-05-796 Clean Water Works contract cast in place sewer repair. Any questions? Moved by Dave Mackay, seconded by Kathy Regier. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approves that the following bylaws be introduced, read, dealt with, numbered, signed by the mayor and clerk, and sealed and recorded in the bylaw book. 1 through 8 as previously questioned. Yes, Councillor Olmsted.
Sorry, I just want to get back to the development agreements. Just wanted to ask our Chief Building Officer if he had any input or any comments on those development agreements.
Chris, I have no comments. I helped draft them, so I know what they are. Most of them are from when there was studies done, some to deal with wells, some to deal with shorelines and stuff like that, but that's what they are included of. Some are to deal with water quality, if there's sodium levels that are high, that the new owners are aware of the levels.
Councillor McLaughlin.
Just going back to the agenda, your procedural bylaw. I see you've taken out the councillor announcements out of it.
that?
Thank you. No, I only made the one change in red, to move up the bylaws that are pertaining to public meetings so that people don't have to sit here until that section. I didn't remove anything else.
I'm just going through it, I don't see it, but...
Oh, it would be on the next page.
Next
I
page.
just took
Oh.
the one page
Oh,
out of the
okay,
bylaw.
that's fine then. No,
40-some odd
that
pages.
answers my question then.
Okay.
Any other questions? All those in favor of accepting? Opposed, if any? Carried. Number 11, any questions or comments on any of our correspondence? Yes, Councillor Olmsted.
Do we know if the Environmental Services Manager actually got a chance to read through the request for proposal for the casting place?
Yes.
He has read this already?
Yeah, we had, if I may?
Yes, absolutely.
We had a meeting with Rock Blaskowitz from JP2G. That was before Steve went on vacation. And we only got the one RFP back. This is the gentleman who had come and given a presentation to Steve and myself and Rock. They're out of Ottawa. They're excellent references, and this is their specialty.
That's Clean Water Works, Clean Water Works, yeah. They're almost the only ones that do it in this area that have a good reputation. They've done a lot of work. I've seen a lot of their work. Any other questions? Eh? No. I'm going to read it anyway. I haven't, I just went through it first. Moved by Dave Mackay and seconded by Kathy Rager. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region receives and files correspondence 1 through 11. Any more questions? All those in favor? Carried. Oh, opposed if any, carried. Yeah, what I read, absolutely. Moved by Dave Mackay, seconded by Kathy Rager. Be resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region supports the Township of Bonnechere Valley's initiative to appeal to Ontario Tourism and Culture and Sport Minister Michael Coteau to provide funding assistance for municipalities with aging arenas. Arenas is between 30 and 40 years old, need significant infrastructure repair and proper funding to implement those repairs, which is a burden beyond the financial capabilities of small rural communities in Ontario. The Township of Whitewater Region supports 3 municipal arenas due to the amalgamation with a population of 7,000 people. Any questions? I'm going to have Chris speak to that quickly. Sorry, Ann.
Just one suggestion that perhaps we put arenas over the age of 30 years instead of between 30 and 40, because that limits it. And I would just hate to limit the age description, because perhaps some of our arenas are actually older than 30 to 40 years. So I'd like to say over 30 years.
I would agree with that, because Beechburg is already over 40.
Thank you.
that okay with the mover and seconder?
And just by way of background about where this came from, I like to skim through the papers whenever I have a minute, and I did spot this initiative from Bon Chevallier, and I know Brian Martin, the CAO there, so I gave him a call, and we had a discussion. It is going to go to the Ontario Eastern Wardens Caucus, but he was delighted that I would be bringing it forward to council to see if you were willing to support a louder voice to the province to deal with this issue.
Councillor Mackay.
I wonder, when you send that note, can you emphasize how important arenas are to our villages and the cultural center of the village almost, especially in winter? Pretty important.
I can draft a cover letter to go with that, and then I think for all the municipalities who are supporting Bon Chevalier's initiative, there'll be a big package of material going to this minister at the province, so certainly I can do that.
All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Thanks. Okay. Moved by Dave Mackay, seconded by Terry Miller. Be it resolved that the Planning Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region recommends that council approve the request from Hayden McLaughlin to approve vehicle sales at his garage located at 1805 Beachburg Road. The CAO is directed to draft a letter to the Ontario Motor Vehicle Industry Council stating that the sale of vehicles at this location is authorized by council. This was previously tabled to come back up at this meeting. And at that point, Doug, do you mind coming and speaking to that?
At the last council meeting, it was brought up at the table here, and it was asked for me to get some information about a site plan, and Mr. Hayden McLaughlin has provided that he will only be using 2 parking spots for this at the side of the building. It's just to fill in kind of when he has time to buy a vehicle, fix it up, and then sell it to people. It's kind of just to fill in for the garage. It's not a big dealership or anything like that. It's just a part fill-in. Did talk to the county about zoning and stuff like that. The property is not zoned, so Ann McBain said that they had no comments. And she said if the property is not zoned, that the county roads department wouldn't be involved either.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Jackson.
So this is his site plan?
That's his site plan. Pretty crude, but it works.
It works.
Councillor McLaughlin. Oh, no, sorry. That is, Councillor Mackay.
Yeah, I was in there today talking about something else, but he's a pretty reasonable guy and an honest guy, and I think you do a good job. He does safety checks there too and everything, so that's it.
Any other comments, Councillor Olmsted?
Yeah, actually, I appreciate this gentleman coming forward and doing it in a proper manner, where most people would probably just go ahead and do it. So I think it's very respectful that he actually took the time to do this.
All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Thanks, Doug. Appreciate that. Yeah, right on. Okay. Oh, gee. I have to laugh. Yeah, that's a second. Absolutely. That's why I giggle. Moved by Darrell McLaughlin, seconded by Chris Olmsted. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approves the purchase of a new project with Apple TV capacity for the council chambers. This equipment will enable screen monitoring of iPad information, complementing the purchase of iPads for electronic council meetings. And I would like Councillor Jackson to speak to that, please.
Yeah, this just enables a wireless communication between the iPads and the, whatever they're called, projector, thank you. And it works fabulously. It's very easy once it goes up, and you can use it for all kinds of things, but the biggest thing is whatever you show on your iPad can show on the screen. And once we go to the iPads and their PDF documents, then that can all go on the screen as well. So any maps that are uploaded to a PDF document can be seen by all those in the audience, which I think is important. And I don't think anybody would have to move at the front if the maps are, if they're up during discussion, then people can see. And the CAO and the mayor wouldn't necessarily have to get out of the way, because people, will be able to see behind them the areas that we're talking about. It works pretty slick, and I think there's enough money in the budget as well for all the iPads as well as this purchase to cover the cost that was budgeted for. So I don't see an increase in the budget to offset that.
Thank you.
Perhaps Marcia can.
Yes, Charlene is right. We do have set aside $10,000, so that'll cover this cost as well as the iPad.
Thank you. Any further, Councillor Olmsted?
Yeah, I for one think it's probably a fantastic idea where sometimes we're lacking information or trying to seek resolutions, and we've got to table things where if we do have a shot, maybe a picture or whatever of a site property, or chief building officer's been to a property already, we can actually throw it up on the screen. We can probably get answers pretty quickly, so I think it'll be efficient.
Absolutely. Thank you. Councillor Reeve Miller.
My concerns are sort of based on our ability, our technical ability to run the equipment a little bit, and that we don't, I'm assuming Busky would be hired to come in and hook this all up and get it running. And I understand Busky's coming Thursday to look at the camera situation and the volumes for our recordings. Providing they're providing the service for this, I'm okay with it. I just wanted to point out that they're on the job on other issues here too, so maybe it's a good fit.
Thank you, Reeve Miller. Councillor Jackson.
And Busky is familiar. They were the company that installed the projector and ITV at Laurentian Valley as well, so they're well aware of the requirements and how it works. And it's extremely simple. Once it's set up, it's extremely simple to operate.
Yeah. Well,
Reeve Miller.
My concern is there's people out here that believe that our recordings are, they weren't well, and we missed something on February 4th when Mr. Cheeseman was here. In looking into that and asking a lot of questions, I've discovered that particular day on February 4th, the meeting was being recorded with a small device on a pole, and the battery went dead. And the guy restarted the battery or hooked it onto his phone or something to finish it. But we've all gotten a bunch of doo-doo over this conspiracy that we have deleted Section 3 of the video. And I just want to make it for the record what really happened.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson.
I think the CAO was very correct in her response. With regards to, this is new equipment. It's going to take some time to get used to. Busky is going to come down and look at it. It's not a mandate that municipalities are required to record their council meetings, and I think Whitewater Region Council and staff have gone above and beyond making things transparent, and I think all the information is there to go back to one section of a meeting, move forward, and that's the way I believe we should go, and don't focus on the past. It wasn't when this machine was hooked up, it was prior to that, and I think staff has tried to put something in place, and we're still tweaking it, and we'll get there. But what's there now is certainly, in my opinion, more than any other municipality has in Renfrew County. And I think we're leading the way in with regards to that, and we should be proud of that. Thank you.
I'd just add to that, my research is only one other municipality that doesn't use Cablevision and professional people. There's only one other municipality in all of Ontario, and they started approximately at the same time as we did, and they're having similar issues, and they're working through them at the same time. So we're on the leading edge, and when Ford developed the car, he had problems too. Easy, we're not going there. Anyway, thank you very much. So do you want me to read this again, or are we going forward? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Moved by Chris Olmsted, seconded by Darrell McLaughlin, be resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region directs the CAO to offer a contract to Elmer Winters to clean the tourist booth and washrooms at the Veterans Memorial Park, as well as collect all park fees. His remuneration shall be 75% of park fees collected and a flat fee of $2,300 to cover all other duties. Okay, any discussion? Councillor McLaughlin?
I'm just wondering, is there an increase in the flat fee?
No, this is the same as last year.
Do you want to go further, Darrell?
I was going to say everything else has gone up 2%. So I wonder if the flat rate shouldn't go up 2%.
Councillor Olmsted? Yeah, just reading the letter to Mr. Winters that will be sent to him. Just the one change maybe I wouldn't mind seeing in there is last part of the first paragraph, completed receipt books should be remitted to the municipal office on a monthly basis. Can we be a little more stern in that not that the completed receipt books should be remitted? Can we maybe just phrase that a little differently in that we will...
To be?
Yeah, we require... Yeah.
Certainly I can make that change, but just note that he doesn't get paid until his receipts are turned in.
Oh, okay.
He's quite diligent about getting them here.
He probably puts them in every week then.
But I'd be happy to change that if you wish.
If that's the process now, he doesn't get paid until they get in, I'm fine with the way it is.
Okay.
Thank you.
Tabled by Councillor McLaughlin for a 2% increase.
You can change the dollar figure right now if you like.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll vote on that. It's brought forward. Those in favor of...
I'm okay with the way it is now. I think Marcia would like to speak to it.
Sorry, go ahead, Marcia.
Sorry. What I did was I looked back in 2014 for the amount of dollar figures that we had paid Elmer with all the park startup, shutdowns, beach house, cleanup, all sorts of things. And that was a total of $3,206.25 for this contract. And then on top of that was the $2,300. So 2014 he was paid just a little over $5,500 for the summer.
Councillor Jackson?
Again, I'm okay with the way it stands now with the $2,300 flat fee.
Councillor McLaughlin?
I'll just remove my request or my thoughts. I just was bringing it forward to see if there had been.
Okay.
That's all, but if everybody's fine, it's fine with me.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Moved by Darrell McLaughlin, seconded by Chris Olmsted. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region directs the CAO to offer a contract to Art Cobb to coordinate and organize the Tourist Bureau booth 2015 season for a compensation of $1,750. Any discussion? Councillor McLaughlin.
I'm just gonna ask the same question as I did before. Is there an increase or is there not?
Chris.
Yeah, Hope and I had discussed this, and this does, Art has pretty much indicated that this will be the last year that he's able to do this. Art's health is not great. Last year, and I meant to make a note on this, I'm sorry. Last year it was $1,500, so for his last year, we thought it might be nice to give him a little extra, but certainly that's up for debate.
That answers my question.
Any further questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried.
Hope, out of curiosity, how many years has Art organized the volunteers?
I can answer that. I think he started in 2010. Yes, you're right. You're right.
And
2005?
Before that,
Oh.
When Whitewater Region amalgamated in 2001, he was setting the volunteer who was hours and who was going to work when.
Councillor McLaughlin?
I was going to a paid position.
Oh. He volunteered before that, that's true. Because I personally thought Art built the place. He's been at it that long. Moved by Darrell McLaughlin, seconded by Chris Olmsted. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region support consent application B18-15-1, B19-15-2, and B-20-15-3, and accepts the planning justification report to satisfy official plan policy 14-3-5 for the additional severances from the holding. Further, the planning justification report, hydrologist study, and slope stabilization report must all be made available to future property owners through a development agreement registered on title, and specific recommendations of the report should be incorporated into the agreement. A registered plan of survey is required. A private road agreement is required. And Doug, you speak to this?
Yes, when they talk, this is what we just did previously. We did passed a development agreement for one portion of these properties. Now, these are new severances that they are applying for now. They have a study, tells you how to fix up the shoreline, what it has to, retaining blocks and stuff like that. So that all is conditions of severances, that they be attached as an agreement later.
Any questions further for Doug?
And this property, if nobody else, if you don't know where it is, it's pretty well at the far end of our township. You go down Rapids Road, and then I think you take Tim Road, and at last you get to La Pointe Trail, and it's right along the Ottawa River, and it's a very nice property.
Councillor Olmsted?
That was one question. The other question was, so are we looking at three severances here?
Yes, you are looking at 3 severances.
And what would be left of the property after the 3 severances?
Probably about 300 acres. Yeah, it's a pretty big property there, and I think they have the plans of doing another 3 severances at some time too.
How many severances can they have on that piece of property?
Well, that's when it comes, they start doing justification reports. So once you're over 5 severances off a piece of property, then the county will ask for a justification report. And then what the justification report deals with is size of lots, septics on the property, water quality and stuff like that. And that would be there would be a justification report in here.
Any further questions for Doug? Yes.
Confirm, is this a Tim property?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you.
Catherine Tim. Yeah. And Doug LaPointe.
All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Moved by Darrell McLaughlin, seconded by Chris Olmsted, be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region permits the Valley Gospel Chapel to return to their original location in Cobden Park for gospel tent meetings from August 1st to August 10th, 2015. Any discussion? Councilor McLaughlin?
That's in the long weekend, is it not? In August?
Yes.
Is that where we ran into the problem last year, was with the long weekend, that they moved the tent? Do they normally have this on the long weekend? I thought it was later in August is normal time. I don't think it was the long weekend. Oh, I see this. And the other thing I would like to have is if they're going to be driving pegs into the ground, they'll need to get and Hal, you would know what you call, they have to get locates.
Yeah. 14
That-
days in advance.
That I would like put into the motion, so that there are locates made, for sure, because last year they were driving them without locates.
Must be locates 14 days in advance from one call. Just 14 days in advance. And our staff, actually, because they need water and sewer.
I honestly am not really familiar with the location of where they put the tent in the park. I believe, someone's gonna have to help me with this who has more history than I do. I believe it's always been that same time frame where they've done this. But I guess last year it proved difficult for people who had mobility issues, much longer walk and a more difficult walk. So they'd like to go back to where they were before. To my knowledge, we never had any indication that the original, Hope, do you know that the original location was an issue, or? Okay.
Councilor McLaughlin?
I would like somebody to go back and check the history of the timing, because I have a feeling it was not this time. It was only started last year, and that's why it was moved down there, because they wanted to do it on the long weekend. So if somebody could get clarification for me over the past years to see where it was.
If it's okay with Councilor McLaughlin and Councilor Olmsted, we'll table this until our next meeting and get some clarification on the proposed questions.
The only problem will be that'll be in Well, no, that would be June,
Yeah, that'd be
and that should be fine.
Okay? Okay. That's tabled. Moved by Councillor Olmsted, seconded by Darrell McLaughlin. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region supports the resolutions enacted by the Township of Hornpain and the Township of Madawaska Valley calling on Premier Wayne and the Province of Ontario to take immediate action to prevent hydro rate increases from being implemented. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Moved by Darrell McLaughlin, seconded by Chris Olmsted. I just love your signature. I have to chuckle every time I see it. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region directs the CAO to write a letter of support endorsing the Pembroke Regional Hospital Home Lottery. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Moved by Chris Olmsted, seconded by Darrell McLaughlin. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region accept the tender bid of $41,223.53 HST included, submitted by H&H for the parking lot rehabilitation at the rear of the municipal office. Discussion. Councillor McLaughlin?
That was the lowest bid as well.
Yes. Those are all reputable firms. I should be no problem.
The bid sheet is in your package.
I quite well understood it, and I got that. It just wasn't on the motion that it was the lowest bid.
We can add that if you wish.
I think, is that not normal practice that we do?
I think we just have to accept whomever. All those in favor? And opposed, if any? Carried. Moved by Darrell McLaughlin, seconded by Chris Olmsted. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region support consent application B25-15 with the following conditions. 1. A registered plan of survey is required. 2. A zoning bylaw amendment is required for the severed lands to be rezoned from RU E12 to RU to match the zoning of the lot to be added to. Doug, can you speak with that?
That battery may be going. If it won't go. Okay, just give me a minute. We're trying to go battery.
Hello? So what is going on in this severance is that there's a piece of property being severed at the back, being added to a piece of property at the front. And both properties are zoned different. So the county is saying that the two properties should be zoned the same. And that's why they're asking for rezoning as a condition of the severance.
Okay. Any further questions? Doug? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Thanks, Doug, again.
Okay.
Moved by Darrell McLaughlin, seconded by Chris Olmsted. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region supports consent applications B110-14-1 and B 111-14-2 with the following conditions. A registered plan of survey is required. The proposed lots meet the requirements of the Township of Public Works Department. I'm going to read number 2 again because I didn't do that right. The proposed lots meet the requirements of the Township's Public Works Department. Again, Doug, can you speak with that?
I think that what they're saying,
We need to hook that one up right to the floor plug.
No, you don't have to hold on to it.
thank you.
Sorry. Okay.
So I think what they're saying here, as long as it's good for the roads to get an entrance, then it's fine. There also was a thing, they saying in the comments that because it's so close to the Muskrat, lake, that the septics would have to be in a certain location also, farther away from the lake.
Okay, Councillor Jackson?
Did this come before us before? I just seem to remember this.
I don't think it did.
Maybe it was just from the mail that I got.
Yeah. You might have got general inquiries about it.
Well, and I live close by, so I might have got it in the mail.
Yeah. Oh, yes, you would have. Definitely. If you live close by, you're getting one.
Yep.
Any further questions? Councillor?
So, this is one property now being, with severing 2 lots off of it?
Yes, it's a pretty big piece of property down there, and I think they're just severing 2 lots off of it. They're there now.
And there's a residential home on the remaining piece of property right now?
I don't think there is. I think it's vacant. I think the family was left with a chunk of property, and what they're doing is severing it in half now.
Cool.
He was the original owner of the entire subdivision there, right?
I would believe so.
Yeah, Mr. Mullet, yeah. Any further questions? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Moved by Darrell McLaughlin, seconded by Chris Olmsted. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region support the Sunshine Coach Service and agrees to the Town of Renfrew receiving and being responsible for on our behalf dedicated gas tax funds that the Province of Ontario has the hosted municipality from the Province of Ontario as the host municipality for the Sunshine Coach Service. Council of the Township of Whitewater Region agrees to financially support the Sunshine Coach Service in the form of a donation for 2015 for the amount of $100. Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Okay. Moved by Chris Olmsted, seconded by Darrell McLaughlin. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region agrees to submit a Canada 150 Community Infrastructure Program, CIP 150, application for rehabilitation and renovation of the we're going to decide for the purpose of strengthening public infrastructure and to provide economic benefits in the community. I'm going to get Christine to speak to that. This is new.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, this is the new item, the addition. I asked Deputy Clerk Hope Delaveau to put together a report for you, which is, I believe she's given to you and I sent out by email. Once again, it always confounds me why the windows on these funding announcements are so short, but last Friday, late in the afternoon, it was announced that the federal government is, I forget the dollar value, Hope, I think it was $150 million. Yeah, anyway, it's a new infrastructure fund. It specifically targets existing facilities, including community centers, arenas, tourism facilities, parks, recreational trails, etc. It's a cap of $1 million per project. You have to come up with 50% of the total costs. However, priority will be given to projects that only require a federal contribution of 33%. So you're going to have an even better chance if you only ask for a third of the money. But this isn't a provincial-federal split. This is federal only. And the deadline is June 9th. So, I know, I'll never understand why they do that. So, Hope's recommendations here, we're looking at rebuilding the tourist booth, which we've put $60,000 potentially into our operating budget for this year. Or, we've already asked the Civitan Club if they'd be interested in partnering, and I haven't had any response. Also, the Cobden Arena upstairs, the room is not accessible. It needs an elevator if they're going to keep using that upstairs space. And they also have accessibility seating and entranceway issues. So, if we're going to have a hope of getting this done by June 9th, we'll have to target a project and an amount, bearing in mind that we would have to come up with the other half. But certainly, half is better than no half.
Councillor Jackson.
I think because the tourist booth is kind of already on our radar, and I understand Cobden Arena also needs a lot of work for accessibility. It's not on our budget document, now. I took a look quickly at the application form to see if they were requiring any drawings or anything like that. It doesn't appear that they are at this time. I would like to recommend the tourist booth. It does get used quite a bit. It is right on the highway. It has the Canadian flag there. It's a stop for a number of visitors. I think it meets kind of all the little criterias that the Canada, like the 150, is looking for. I also think the Cobden Arena meets those criteria. It's just that to make the Cobden Arena accessible you're looking at probably a $200,000 tag to even start, up to probably $300,000 if you start looking at putting in elevators and accessible seating and whatnot, because it would have to be totally revamped, the arena seating rate as it stands. I think that definitely has to look at, and I agree with Christine, these projects and these tenders and these grant applications come out quickly. They make the announcements and they basically give you, less than a month to fulfill them, which I think is important when we look at our economic plan, strategic plan to get some of those projects sort of shovel ready. We have to have some drawings done, and I don't know that we're going to be able to address those this year, but we're going to have to start looking at that and taking a look at the costs to get projects shovel ready so we can jump on board with those applications right away, have them sitting there ready to go. That's the only way you're going to get funding, if you're ready to go and ready to act when it's announced, because they certainly don't give you enough time to even think about it.
Councillor Mackay?
If we get that application in right away, we should phone Cheryl and, election year, a little bug in her ear. It won't hurt.
Can't hurt. Reeve Miller?
Yeah, it's my understanding, I sent an email to you, Christine, about a 150 fund. You realize that there's two different ones on the go here, eh?
I do realize that.
Maybe you could explain that.
Yeah, Michael Barber, who looks after grant funding at the county, was kind enough to send all of us slightly confused clerks an email that the feds have two different funds, both called Canada 150. One speaks to events. This new one announced Friday speaks to infrastructure. Again, it's almost like they're trying to confuse people who already have a mountain of paper on their desk. In any event, if we could target this, and then Doug, did you want to come up? Because we do have the drawings ready for the tourist booth.
Yes, we have the drawings that they're probably 99% ready, and it's a lot easier to get quotes then when we have the drawings ready. If we had to start at the Cobden Arena right now, try to get a quote, I don't know where to start. If we have the drawings ready, you just take them to 3 contractors and they'll give you some kind of a ball figure price. If you don't have drawings, you're just guessing.
Reeve Miller?
I think in view of what Doug has just told us, we should make a motion and get that done and get that off. And I think we should also look at the one that doesn't involve the infrastructure also. And I think that has to have, if I read right, that has to be in, I think, by May 29th, at least the indication that you're looking at it. Is that correct?
That particular deadline of May 29th, if you're doing a big event, a big scale event that is federal in nature, where it encompasses the entire country as Canada, which we're not probably going to do. So there is no actual deadline set yet for what we're planning on doing for an event, which we haven't really planned anything yet.
Okay, now I understand, but the way the grant money works, it would be in our best interest if we want to pursue it to come up with something quick and get it in, because not everybody's, the quicker one's in, is that how it works? To get the early bird gets the worm and then there's no worm left, is that correct to say that?
I don't know, sometimes it varies, it's different every time, but I can certainly think of a few things and bring it to council fairly soon and we can have a decision made.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Olmsted.
I'd be in agreement to support Councillor Jackson's suggestion to proceed with the tourist booth. Any savings that, I think we have $60,000 in the budget earmarked for that project, so any savings I'd like to start with the Cobden Arena planning, do what we need to do there to get it ready for whatever steps need to be taken there to rectify both the accessibility issue and and opening up the hall. I know that hall has been a thorn in the side for a lot of people in the municipality. We've got a beautiful hall sitting there and it's not being used because of the accessibility issue.
Councillor Jackson, thanks.
I understand the thought process. Right now, there's a number of projects on the budget list, and that I believe we still have to cut down $1 million on the budget, so there may not be any savings. If there's savings, then it's going to be direct savings this year and not to be able to put funds aside, but I like your thought process.
We'll find out. My personal feeling is the Tourist Bureau is probably the only one we'd have a chance at funding, and it's a good project. And Councillor McLaughlin.
Christine's first question, Civitan has not met since you submitted your letter. It will be next Tuesday that they will meet at their business meeting. Secondly, I have to agree with what Councillor Olmsted has said. I think I agree with using taking the tourist booth, but I also think that we have to start to look at the arena and somehow devote some money towards getting a plan together so we would be ready for something there when funding would be available. Because as we've spoke around the table, if it's not ready, then when the grants come out, then we're not going to be able to achieve the grants. Christine?
Yes, and Councillor, that's always the great challenge, is that even if we pay for drawings of whether it's an engineered drawing, a stamp drawing, or a draft drawing, there's no guarantee ever that we're going to get the funding. So that's the dilemma that we're up against, that we have to pay a professional to get the drawings ready, to be on the shelf, and as Councillor Jackson points out, so that we can pull them down, write the thing, get it off, cross our fingers that we're going to get the money and be shovel ready. So there's no guarantees in life. It's a strange process, especially for small municipalities where every dollar counts, but that is the way the funding cycle works.
Not to make anything more complicated, but if you were going to do something with the arena, I would probably suggest that you do it in 2 phases, because, you know, for $200,000 there isn't that much of funding usually available. It's probably smaller, like $50,000 to $60,000 funding shots, and for us to get drawings ready is probably going to cost $4,000, $5,000.
Chris?
Thank you. Also, just a point to bear in the back of your mind that an elevator for a building like that is running in the $100,000 plus range.
I think it makes sense, no matter whether it's not available or is available, but we keep in mind that these projects, if we have any money left over, that they go into some fund. If we have the money in the budget and somehow we're really on top of it and we save money, let's put it into an account in that area. And can we even just write that on there?
Well, that's
just a different, okay.
Let's wait and see what happens first.
Okay, I'm going to read this again because I think we have pretty much come to the point where we can vote on this. Moved by Chris Olmsted, seconded by Darrell McLaughlin. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region agrees to submit a Canada 150 Community Infrastructure CIP 150 application for rehabilitation and renovation of the Cobden Tourist Booth in the amount of $30,000 for the purpose of strengthening public infrastructure and to provide economic benefits in the community. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Carried. Township of Whitewater Region, closed session, resolution 30, date May 20th, 2015. Moved by Darrell McLaughlin, seconded by Chris Olmsted. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region went into council under the Section 2392 of the Municipal Act at 7:35 p.m.